I think it's really super strange that people don't believe what I'm saying in my story, because it's like taking away from my own ability to suggest to what my experiences were from being a young kid, having those same feelings throughout my life that literally they're physical feelings of being suffocating down to the bone. Like, it's hard to explain. It's really super hard to explain. It's like trying to go into the doctor to explain something that you just don't know what's going on with you. It's different when you go in for a sore throat, or you want to get a strep culture, or you have an earache or an ear infection or something that's easier to explain. Oh, that's cool. I got an extra tip. Cool, $25 for just that. Hey, that's cool. So, my point here is just that that was order B. Huh. That usually doesn't happen. Not like that anyways. That was really nice of that person. So anyway, I'm like going back to what I'm saying here is just the fact that if people don't believe you when you actually have something and you come out of a long-standing poisoning, you finally are able to get your thoughts into words. And it's hard. It's really hard at first. That's why, like, my first 8 months or so of my work on online here on YouTube, it's just horrible. I mean, I had like one of those little microphones that just like comes up from a pad. I mean, just completely not good. Now I have like a bare bones podcaster microphone, which is a lot better, but it's still not a singing microphone by any stretch of the imagination. I just make do with what I have, because I have had plans to make music or be making music and making my own words. I just never knew that it would be so hard to create in that fashion. And it is. I mean, especially coming from where I've been, and having to realize that these people had been working against me this whole time, and it being like my own brothers because of the situation growing up and stuff. I don't think that it's so hard to wrap your mind around the fact that people who move this way ultimately don't want anybody else to be able to see what they're doing to you, or what they're doing to another person. So that's why, I mean, at least for me, that's why I believe that these people moved on my life to take my life away, is because, moving out here and getting a place, I was just too close to Jesse for comfort, for his own comfort. Not only my comfort, I'm not comfortable with it because I was asking for more time, but time was never permitted for me, or utilizing my financial situation in any kind of stretch of the imagination towards the benefit of my progression in life, because they didn't want me to be in a progression in life. They wanted to consistently make it look like a scene, to where it would make it look like to other people that I'm not a good worker, or like it's all my own doing. But that was never the case. It was, I mean, maybe at like a young age when I'm being poisoned off and I don't understand what's going on, of course that person isn't going to be, up to par with their workmanship and their craftsmanship and their performance at work. But that's something that a person can't blame a person for, because you literally don't have your origination of sound mind and self-control and all that kind of stuff that you would otherwise have by not being poisoned off or not being poisoned up or whatever. So it really is difficult to me, because it's created such a bad avenue in my life, and especially in the recent 5, 10, 20 years. It's really created a bad situation, and it was a bad situation growing up. It was like I couldn't get to the words that I would have wanted to say, even if I had a vocabulary, but I didn't. I was young, being poisoned, and you just don't learn the same. It's not autism or depression or anxiety or anything like that. What it is a calculated poisoning to make a person not be able to use their words. Just say my vocabulary was this tall at 5. I would have been able, after poisoning, been able to use like that. Like that little bit of words. To try and get to these words that I did know, and I knew in my mind I needed way more words to be able to explain what was happening to me. So I just felt completely shut out in myself, like shut down inside of myself to be able to even try to get the truth out, as far as or get to the truth. But as far as what I thought it was at little tiny moments, before you don't have your mental capacity, it just goes away. That's what arsenic does to you. It creates these memory lapses, and it's from the way it works is it suffocates you down to the cellular level. Like you need oxygen in your body in that fashion, and not just the oxygen that those oxygenators read from your finger, your actual cells of your body. And I don't know if that's something that those things even read. I just don't think that they do read that very well. And if it does, it's not like they would look at it, going into the hospital or going into having an EKG and being hooked up to all these things. It's not something that I think they would go, oh, this is an obvious poisoning, it's meant to not be obvious. If it was meant to be obvious, they would have, thought to give me a whole lot more or whatever and make me die. But that's legitimately what I felt like I was gonna do at 5, 6, 7 years old, when I was too old to be going in my mom's room to sleep at 8 even, or whatever age I was there. But the fact of the matter is that I was scared. I was scared for my life. I was scared that I wasn't going to ever be able to let anybody know what was going on with me, because you feel like you're so shut out in your thoughts even about what's happened. And it's a scary thing. It's just in general, that feeling is just so super scary. And then honestly, when I'm out here, even in other areas of my life, experiencing these same things from their affairs, they're legitimately controlling my life through proxy. How fun. Thanks guys. I really wanted a natural organic relationship and natural organic friendships, and I wanted a natural organic love life, and I even wanted them in my life. But obviously they didn't want me even in this life. So it's like, I'm not going to go back on that fact to just be like, oh, okay, I'm just going to go hang out with these murderers. It's murder, dude. It's murder. And it's something that when you're dealing with these attempts to this level, anyway, you just never thought you'd be experiencing it to that level. Even if there's hatred and just deceptive, weirdo ways of these people and like how they're treating you, you just don't think that it's going to come down to them like legitimately trying to murder you. You just don't think of it. Or maybe people normally would, but when you're poisoned off, again, it's like it suffocates your ability to wisdom, to see the difference of what people would otherwise be like. And the reason that I say that is because if we're outside of a stasis, I call it, within a stay with Christ, if we're outside of love for our fellow humanity, that's literally what it means to not be able to love yourself. You can't go around hating 2-3 people or 20 people or a group of people or a consensus or a religion or a ideology. You can't go around hating and then consider yourself looking in the mirror as if you love yourself. That's not love. That's narcissistic as all get out. And then this world is gearing everybody to be so independent and independent-minded instead of thinking that your ability of helping one person grind up to where they need to be can take their own abilities out to then be able to give that back and then some. That's the only way that I see the world working anymore, is that people legitimately come to consensus on the reality that helping people grow is what's going to help them themselves grow. And so it's like with me, that's why oftentimes when I had nothing, I'd be giving people $1 or $2 or whatever they needed to, whatever, they needed a candy bar, or they needed something to eat, or they needed even cigarettes or something, like, fine, I'll help you out, but that's just because, like, what goes around comes around as far as that's concerned, or at least that's what you think. But you never know what these people are really like when they're just legitimately trying to just steal the last little bit of everything you have, little by little, to terrorize you down, get you purchase, like, that's what they did with me, is like get me purchasing different things like the house, specifically for identity theft, because these people were house flippers, and they wanted to strip me of my identity, use my equity, use everything that they could, take my life away, make money with insurance fraud for life insurance. And it's just so obvious. Like, it's obviously something that's going to affect a person to not be able to grind to their best selves ever. On top of it, the poisoning, which ultimately makes it to where you can't, in a paper factory, for an example. I would have normally had been fine and learning things fine, but I consistently, after a little bit, had to continuously ask questions about stuff that should have came naturally at that point. The reason it didn't come naturally at that point is because of the arsenic. It's because of the proxy-made relationship, just like my last proxy-made relationship, and the one before that, and the one before that. And anytime I get away and do have any kind of organic relationship, they somehow get in the way of it. They'll send somebody in to specifically terrorize my life, my ability to even suggest to that person that I'm being gang stalked or I am being targeted. Oh, that doesn't happen. you'd hear a lot of that. I think that you're just overthinking it. That's what they say. I think you're just overthinking things. Yeah, I would like to think that I'm just overthinking things, but that's not the case at all. That has never been the case. And especially with, coming to reason with their consciences being so freaking messed up that they literally want to hurt me just to save their own faces from the crimes that they've taken up. So it's a really hard thing to establish with people that just simply don't understand what my life has been like, because they can't think that these things are even possible. Like, if they had two parents and grew up with two parents, and their dad would have never ever hurt them, maybe like hurt their feelings with like wanting a lollipop or something like that, but nothing to this level. And so incredible. I can't believe sometimes how ridiculous people are when they think like these are enough for what they're buying. And like, what, I'm gonna walk around with 3 carts for a little $10 per 3 people to order 79 units? No. Like, come on, man. Like, who are you? Like, who even are you? Maybe there's one person that's actually like really trying there, and the other 2 people suck, but then give me the person that's actually worthwhile. Not like, let's combine them to give people 2 shitty orders for every 1 good order. Like, if I was the app runner, like, I wouldn't take that for anything less than almost double what they're asking for, because it's like, dude, do you think I want to be out here making like $7.25 and spending my gas and wear and tear on my car per hour? No, it's not what anyone's trying to do. So why would you even consider putting an order together that's like that? I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me. People don't make sense out here. Hearts are corrupt, and that's kind of what you have to look through. Which I did a good job with one of my orders yesterday. It just tipped me $25 extra. So I that's what I look for. I look to see if there's heart inside of an order. If there's no heart inside of an order, like, I've taken them before, and it's just really like, it really hurts. It's like, you get there, no one gives a fuck that you're even a fucking human being, for crying out loud. You get there, they got this nice, $1.2 million property, nice cars in their driveway, and these are the same people that you'll literally see the tip go down $3. It's like, I don't even want to entertain you. I don't want to entertain you with having an app. I'm not an app. I'm a person, mind you. And that's what they do to use people. They just literally use people so that they can have people on a phone service for their own app. And it's like, dude, that's not self-employment. It's legitimately like slave labor. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents. Is if someone's out there like working on these levels and doing these kinds of things, don't take anything that's not worthwhile. Like, literally just don't even take it. And that's the only way that you're gonna force people to change, is like, either you go buy your own groceries, or you go get your own food, or you go get your own pet supplies or whatever, or be a human being that would suggest. Like, if someone was in front of you and they were like, hey, will you go shop these 80 items for me and I'll give you $15? I mean, maybe someone would do that, but not me. If it was like, will you go shop these 80 items and I'll give you $50? Sure, I'll do that. It's $50. Not 15. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And I mean, I think of it even in the extreme opposite of that, where it's like, if I had the kind of money some of these people have, it's incredible. But it would legitimately be like, hey, would you do me a favor and go shop these 80 items? I'll literally give you $100. And then they'd go and do it, and then they'd bring me back, and I'd be so grateful for it. They'd be like, here, I'm going to give you $200. Good job. Thank you. You saved me so much time and energy. But where's people's consensus? Down the fucking shitter is what it is. Down the fucking drain. Because people don't care about other people. It's obvious. Look at your news media. They can't even be a biased media and just say what happened anymore. They gotta be like, oh well, he did it to himself for speaking out about his views on religion, and with Charlie Kirk, and this situation with Charlie Kirk. And it's like, dude, if you can't have opposing views and be human, or just have a news media that's just biased and just says what happened, don't be in the news. You're not news. You're like legitimately training people what to think, how to think, and they're actually suggesting, don't speak out because this is what'll happen to you if you decide to speak out against our crimes. Oh, okay. There's no social cleansing going on though at all. There's no demo-fascists that are working in cahoots with the devil and the demonic shit and these demonic entities, and no one's possessed by any kind of evil at all. No. Everyone's so loving out here in the world that you just don't have anything to worry about when it comes to hate, rage, murder, being poisoned. Anyway, that's the main point that I was just trying to make, though, is that I can't believe that I can't now. I mean, I know it's like I'm not 7 or 13 or 22, but the fact of the matter is that you don't always see what's happening to you until you actually figure it out and piece all those puzzle pieces together. Well, that was me at 43 years old. Finally putting all of these puzzle pieces together to suggest this is going to be a hard story to tell. And I don't really care who believes me. I know that the Lord believes, the Lord sees it all. The truth is going to stand alone, regardless of who wants to stand with the truth or who wants to run away from the truth. But, the more people want to just scurry off and run away from the truth in these ways, fine, run away from the truth, but it's not going to really get people anywhere. Life is going to, if we're not allowed to speak out, and we're not allowed to speak, regardless of our viewpoints on things, and people have to worry about getting shot, or getting hurt and murdered, basically, and having the news media even protect them. I don't know. Well, what we're up against is that when we do have something serious to speak out about, the system isn't going to allow us to speak out about it, and these are the things that are going to make for a civilization to go completely under, completely belly up. There's no more civilization at all if these people want to be this way. And then if they want to think that without one single Christian left on the planet that they're going to be okay in their hearts, they're wrong. The Lord above is the one that makes their hearts beat, and it's through what I feel is people praying for their enemies. If there wasn't these people if there wasn't Christians actually praying for the hearts of the enemies and for the hearts of the very hateful people to turn from their evil ways, they wouldn't have heartbeats. It's the Lord that gives them the availability of having a heartbeat, meaning that when the last Christian goes, no one's actually going to pray anymore for their hearts. Their hearts are done. Their hearts are done. The Lord created everything with His Word. He made us in His image so we could be creative with our Word. With our Word, we do care. Christians do care. But these people, these demons that people are siding with, just don't care. It's the devil wanting to steal your soul. And most people, I guess, are just okay with it. They're like going to go to the high dive and do backflips and cartwheels into the lake of fire or something. I don't know. But if that's how they're okay with it in the world, well, then the world's dumb then. And it's just like, you look around you, it's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful place. The changing of the seasons, the changing of the colors of leaves, the snowfall, the nice blue skies, the sunlight, just everything that's here is so creative. Everything. And it all grows in the flower of life, mind you, which is why I believe that people should be singing in the shape of the flower of life all over the world. Because if we're ever gonna have peace on earth, it's gonna come from true people and a patriotic movement like that's gonna be for the Lord and for the Lord's way, not our way. It's not our will be done. It's a togetherness fashion where we are all each other's mirror. And that's what these people didn't understand, is that they were literally showing me in the mirror of who they are. Exactly, verbatim who they are. To my own self, my own spirit, hitting me really super hard with the truth of them wanting to take my life. But I'm not going to misplace it. The cops can go ahead and be Freemasonry and misplace it. The system can be in cahoots with the devil. They obviously create many laws. Don't care whatsoever about the one law that should be required, which is the law of love. Love thy neighbor. And that doesn't mean our actual neighbor. It means the people that were in our own communities, of smaller communities, our own families. But we can't even love our own brothers anymore. Right? We can't even do family right anymore. There's no community. There's no community. They can go ahead and puff up some fucking fairy tale community. Excuse my language. They can go ahead and puff up some fairy tale community, but there is no community. Without actual love of Jesus Christ, there is no community. It's all a fake fairy tale. So pull out go back to your children's books, I guess. Have your fairy tale. But it's a fairy tale. That's legitimately a fairy tale. Anyway, I just wish that people could actually see what I'm actually going through and what I'm actually dealing with, instead of trying to suggest it as anything else other than what it is. So, I don't know. If you care, you care. And if you don't, you don't. If you want to be in a stay with love, then be in a stay within love. Otherwise, the only thing that you're really going to be in a stay with is the opposite. And that's all the hatred out in the world. So anyway, until next time, thanks for being here. Peace.